Hello everybody, good evening to all. Right, just cleaning up some trash before we get rolling on this. This is one from a couple of weeks ago, and we ran out of the PI 3 USB 3232.4, or was it 24, 24, 3, 32, 32 4s. Anyway, I've managed to get some more of them, so now we're going to try and get this back to life. Basically what happened originally is we found we were missing 1v1 off one of the CD3215s. We replaced the ROM chip for the Thunderbolt, and we got our 1v1 back, but we're still stuck at 5 volts. So we're thinking, well, we'll try the PI chip now, and now that I've got stock again, I can do that. Look, solder bridges here. AMC cram, or what is it? MC rams or M crams. Choices on how to interpret that. Hey Jason, welcome. Good to see you here. Hopefully we have a win instead of the bit of run of bad luck, as it were. Speaking of which, my HDMI capture card still has not been packed for shipping, so it's getting a little bit frustrating. Yeah, I think I ordered that way back on Tuesday night, and it's still not packed. Apparently they're very busy, and I can appreciate that, but at the same time I can also get impatient. Okay, just put this aside. Likewise that, and we're just going to go straight for that PI chip, which should be right there. Fingers crossed this actually works, because I could really do with it. Now I just got to find those chips. I was hoping for these to be CD3215s, but unfortunately I'm starting to wonder whether I've been gypped by the supplier. I certainly haven't seen any yet. So yeah, it's like a couple $100 worth of CD3215s that are just gone. Okay, there's our PI32. Hey, we fix TVs. Evening to you. Yes, Travis, I believe so. Oh, I had to laugh with a bit of embarrassment today. There was a Lenovo laptop I was trying to fix up before. Not Lenovo, a Dell. And I could not find a fault on the board, and funnily enough that is actually what was right. All that was wrong is that the communication line in the charger was dud, or something was going wrong in the charger. So it was delivering power, but it wasn't able to communicate properly with the laptop, and so the laptop was just sort of going, no, it gets stuffed, not turning on for you, mate. And initially I was thinking, oh well, that's fine, I'll just take the drive out and copy it. I mean, the laptop's pretty beaten up anyway. So I thought, yeah, I'll take the drive out and just duplicate it, but it turns out it's a BitLocker drive, because apparently Dell now well, since about 2017, has this thing with a bit lock by default, and that is a major pain in the butt. I better check that. I'm pretty sure that's the right. What board's this? 1041. Okay, so pin 1's there, which is what we have. Oh, by the way, I have done a fairly major update on Flex Board View now, at least for the bleeding edge version, and you can do things like, let's say, you can edit the data. Actually, this is probably a bad example. We'll load up a board that has data. So 165. It's pretty much guaranteed. Okay, so it's got its data. But you can do neat things now, such as, so you edit it, but with dual side parts, it's easier if you just sort of like, go up and down. You know what I'll do? I'll put it down here. There's still things I need to improve on the user interface. You can go odds and evens, and then with diode mode or volts or resistance, so you've got your 3 different styles of measurement. But you can see all the prior values on that connector. I should probably just add a few more in there. And as you go through, you can see down here, it guides you so that you can take the measurement in the right place. You type in the measurement that you want, and as you can see, it sort of went up one row and then went up the other because I set it to odds and evens. So instead of going left, right, it just goes up all the odds, and then when you do make changes there, they'll show up here pending to the queue. You send them up to the server, and when you reload the data, it'll all be there for everyone else to use. Anyway, let's get back to the microscope. Hey Tony, I will admit I am seriously considering putting up the price on Flex Board View, but probably in the new financial year. So if you want to get your licenses, you might want to consider doing it soon before I put the price up. I think it's been around long enough now that, people who just want to get started or whatever have had a chance. Oh, that chip is not. Pretty much cooked that chip, or at least it feels like it. Can I upgrade? Yes, you can, Jason. Yeah, if you've already got a license, you can jump up to the new releases for 2 years after you've purchased a license. So certainly there's a lot of differences in this new one coming out. Yeah, the integration with OB data. As usual, there's going to be people who will not appreciate the price rise, but it's already been out 3 or so years now at the high price, at the current price, so it's heading for an update now. Suppose we better cool that board down. Mike, well, yeah, I mean, people can upload the wrong readings. That's absolutely, but you see, other people can override them. And also, it'll be a statistical analysis, so any sort of outliers will tend to be cast out. And then if I find someone is putting in dodgy values, I can just cull all the entries that they submitted. So while there's no actual personal information in the data that's submitted, I can still at least, I do track roughly where it came from, like IP address and a unique ID, but it doesn't like have the person's name or anything like that. So if I find that someone is pumping up false data, then yeah, I can just go along and wipe them all out of the database. The other thing is that there are constraints on how much data you can put up, and like you can't pump a given value multiple times to try and swing the bias in your favor. It just doesn't work that way. I'll upload 20, yeah. See, and that's when I'm just going to knock your heads off. Alright, fingers crossed we get 20 volts here. What? Now it's resetting. Brilliant. Still the same crap. Bugs me that that stays on. That should actually shut down. Like when you disconnect your USB meter from the load, it should ideally turn itself off. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Yeah, still at 290. I've kind of forgotten what it was before. What? Nah, I hate it when I forget things like that. 290, yeah, it doesn't seem like a serious problem. That's, barely a watt or two. DJ Craze, I don't know, I haven't tried it. It runs for Windows 10. Obviously the border, all this area here is warm from the reflow work that we did before. But it's kind of interesting that in spite of it being that time ago, it's still maintaining heat. T2's heating up. That's not what we want to see. So it is the same as it was before. T2 taking up the power. Yeah, T2 is the only thing going there. There is a little bit of warmth on the CD3215 here, but that's to be expected. So in terms of visuals, it's looking quite normal. Aside from the fact that T2's got all the heat. Hey Basil. Yeah, I saw they announced Windows 10 end of life is 2025. It is interesting because we all were told that they were never going to change the name anymore. They're just going to well, we're just going to call it Windows 10. But you should know never to trust that. Yeah, I've tried putting it in DFU mode and I had no luck. And DFU mode's usually, um, what do you call it? It's usually about 70, 80 milliamp, I think. I am tempted to replace both of these ROM chips again because we used one that came from a board that, well, we've got an inconsistent state here. Because one came from a 1708 for the B03 chips. So I think if we take this donor that Jason has sent us and we strip it of those two ROM chips, maybe we can have a bit more luck. Yeah. Warren, yeah, I mean, how old are you? But yeah, I mean, I'm sure we can sort something out. 2 years is typically the cutoff. Okay, so we got this. Obviously, had a bit of a crash landing in the postal system because the airbags have deployed. Jason, let's see, what's the deal with this one? I mean, it looks pretty good, but what's dead on it? Apart from the chassis. Right, you want the data. Okay, that's fine. What I'll do is I'll make note and mark those ROM chips so that we can swap them back. What I really need to do is actually get a suitable holder board for the ROM chips. And that way you can just read, damn it, you can read the memory. Ah, man, why is this so difficult? You can read the data off a known good one and then just burn it to the others so you don't have to keep stealing it from other boards. That was about the most stuck on adhesive I've experienced for these things. I'm just going to duplicate the parts into here. I don't think it's going to really matter. Screen is busted and just stopped. Oh, joy. That BitLocker machine, I've actually was able to disable or turn off the BitLock. So it's going to be interesting now to see if it reboots or whether it just sits there and goes, please enter your BitLock password. In which case I'll scream. I just noticed this is actually a slightly different setup because it is this different machine. So I'll put it into its own little container. So I'm a little bit unhappy about the fact that my capture card hasn't even been shipped or packed for that matter, because I was kind of hoping to spend this weekend experimenting with it, trying to get it to work right. Let's see. Gavani, watch Tim's iPad rehab. Oh yeah, I've seen Tim's X-ray work before. I was right there pretty much at the beginning when Tim started doing X-ray work. I was talking about it last night, I think it was, saying how massively improved things are from his original film-based first attempts to what he can do now with his digital sensor. Tim and I talk quite a lot on a day-to-day basis, discussing things like how we are very frustrated with a lot of the stuff at the moment. Mike Sims, did you get confirmation that I gotta admit, I didn't get confirmation that it is going to be that one, but they didn't seem to make any indication of the fact that it would be anything but. And at this stage, at least given that the order information has not been changed, like they haven't changed the product, they haven't put any notations there or anything like that, then I can assume that it should still be the product that I will get. If they do try and pull something like put I think a Black Magic card in there, then I will lose my collective head. Because I explicitly don't want the Black Magic ones. Because if you check the forums and things like that, you find there's a great deal of people where they work well enough, but every now and then they do all sorts of crazy stuff. And I don't want to be spending a moderately large amount of money only to still have to deal with quirks. You don't pay that kind of money to deal with quirks. Around this time of the year, they do typically get very inundated with sales. Because here in Australia, it's the end of financial year approaching, so end of this month, the new financial year starts. Well, July 1st, new financial year. And so everybody is racing out to spend up, make sure they use up all the surplus budget, or just try to get their personal income tax down, things like that. Hey Greg, how's it going? Tim's pretty young. Yeah, I've forgotten exactly how old he is. I don't think he's anything more than 18 or so, 19. He's probably going to beat me over the head. I met him when he was about 15, 16. I don't know what it is about this machine, Jason, but all the adhesive, it's like they took a page out of Plumman Tessa Tape's book. That is seriously well stuck down stuff. Pretty sure he's 20 now, is he? Yep, well, I don't keep track of these things. All I know is I just talked to him, and he is who he is. He seems to be doing a good job with the, the MacBook board repair training up there at Jess's place. And he's doing another session in September, I believe. Which is really good, because it gives him a chance to get away from the work, the normal day-to-day work, and try some different things, get some networking done, as in human social networking. Man. Real shame to have to rip this thing apart. It does certainly look like it's a better machine overall. Okay, what have I forgotten here? Nothing? Alright. 668. Andre, look. Yes, evening for me. Okay, I can see all the liquid damage over there. It's corrosion, actually. It looks like atmospheric type corrosion. Yeah, Jason, you're lucky. Being on the beach when a 9.0 hits. A couple of hours later, you'd get that tsunami coming in. Okay, so there's one ROM chip. Yeah, this one here, it just looks like it's been in a corrosive atmosphere. Probably by the coast or something. Someone who likes to... There you go, beachfront property. There you go. I see them coming out of Townsville like this too. Okay, Travis, have a good night. Thank you. Oh, I've done this in the wrong order. Supposed to remove that chip first, then put down the replacement. Clearly I'm not thinking too well. I only had about 3.5 hours sleep last night. Mostly because I was up coding software. And once you get a roll on coding software, you sort of don't want to stop until you pretty much drop. Very hard to step away from the momentum once you've got it rolling. Because you know, oh, sweet Bridget, that was hot. Ah, it's from Noosa, okay. Well, it's not likely to have fixed it, but I will test it before I put the second one over. Probably why there's an A1990 in the video headline. What? Ah, it's supposed to be 1990. Oh well, that's okay. It gives something for the pedantic people to care about. It must have been a botch up. Well, still got a reset. Still 280. Alright. Hey Lars. There's probably nothing actually wrong with this particular ROM, but I'm just replacing it anyway out of abundance of caution. Just in case there's a mismatch or something going on. I mean, I hardly doubt it, but like I said, abundance of caution. So I now have both ROM chips safely captured in that container. Both the originals, not the temporary one we tried before. Looks like that Windows machine successfully rebooted. I'm impressed. BitLocker actually managed to undo its grip on the machine without deciding that it was going to have a suicide dive. And of course, naturally, let's see, pin 1 is bottom right. Just realised I'm wearing my glasses, which means things could be a little out of focus. Or maybe it means things have finally become in focus. We have to take Simba into the vet clinic tomorrow. He had a weird thing on his tail that looked kind of like a physical issue, and then we thought it was clearing up, but now it's come back and it looks even worse. It's like all the hairs dropped off a portion of his tail, about maybe an inch wide, and it started out, it kind of looked like something had rubbed really hard against his tail, kind of like a friction burn. And yeah, we thought it was getting better, but then this morning it's like the flesh is pale and it's got blood coming out. It's like, well, that's not good, so we have to take him to the clinic tomorrow, which is going to be fun because he probably is going to decide to not be around tomorrow when we need him. Now, I hope it's nothing severe because it is going to be a difficult situation if, say, sometimes they have to do surgery on the tail, dock it or something like that. And that's expensive. And he is a wildling, he's not actually one of our cats. So that will leave us in a bit of a predicament. Chances are we will dig deep and still find a way. But you just hope that it doesn't come to that. As I was just frustrating because we thought it had gone away. And I mean, he's been running into the damn wars lately. Like, if something happened and he hurt his leg for ages, and I kind of wouldn't be surprised if we got a broken toe still. So what is this kid getting up to? All the more reason why we want them completely contained within our property. Okay, nothing's changed here. Exactly the same symptoms. Bloody hell. I mean, oh dear. Yeah, they may initially recommend a topical antibiotic. I'm kind of guessing that's what they're going to try for initially. Now I'm really not sure what to think of this at this point. I mean, do I just redo the CD3215s all over again? Pretty sure we replaced that one already. We definitely... Okay, this one I don't think we've replaced. So I'm becoming somewhat inclined to do so. What a nuisance. Yeah, rail hunting. That's one option. That's right, we had that little bit of corrosion down there. As far as I could tell, there wasn't anything really wrong on this side. It was all the other side. Yeah, Josh, they certainly... Yeah, a handful is a fine way of saying it. Oh, come on, you can do better than that. That's a freaking fuse. Must be something wrong with the tips of my meter. Okay, continuity. Yeah, it must have been some sort of coating on the tips. That was a bit misleading. People were probably thinking it's a zombie fuse. It's like it wasn't. It was just dirty tips. Barry, no, that's a different board yet again. This one I haven't removed all of them yet. I've only actually removed and replaced one thus far. And I think I'm going to have a shot at this one now. Yeah, VDiv, I mean, they can be resilient, but yeah, they can also easily fall afoul. Oh, I mean, when it comes to kidney issues, cats are the worst. It's like every single thing in your house has the risk of giving your cats permanent kidney damage. It's a nightmare. Like if you do have cats, then you don't want things like lilies, any lily family type flowers. There's just so many things that you have to keep out of the house when you've got cats. Okay, that's definitely reballed. Yeah, Daniel, stack on 5. We were missing 1v1 for a bit last time, but we got that back with a new ROM. But that was about the limit of our success thus far. which is a bit disappointing. Okay, Greg, thank you for being here. Any 555. Definitely the somewhat safer way of taking this excess solder off those pads. Looks pretty good. Alright, so let's reball ourselves a 3215. Let's get a new one. Believe me, these are... Okay, there's a bit of corrosion under this one here, so we'll have to pass on that one. I just saw it as I was going to start on it. So we'll take this one here, which looks pretty good. That was a pretty clean extraction. And I'm just looking at the substrate and everything looks pretty good down there. I can't see any of the delamination that sometimes occurs on these chips. Jason, I wouldn't feel bad. I mean, yeah, I only wish that I was a little closer to a lot of other people. Because I do believe that sometimes you just get stuck with a board or a problem that if you could hand off to someone else, then there's a chance they might easily solve it. You just don't know. But it's good to be able to, hand off jobs and sort of go, listen, can you have a shot at this? Because sometimes someone else manages to fix it in a jiffy. They just either get lucky or they have more experience with that particular style of fault. Okay. Okay, we've got a stencil. Did I tell you that Hiroko has taught Smokey to go? Oh wow, nice. Yeah, we could really do with our cats doing that. I mean, to be fair, our cats have access to a pretty large yard, but even still, in spite of the size of the yard, it would actually be very nice if they would use the human toilet. Because even with a large yard, you do get a build up over time. And unless they're doing it in an area that has a pretty active composting action, you know, either through just, you know, natural leaf matter and things like that, then yeah, it doesn't take long and you've got this stinky build-up. Just sent you a funny oh, now I have to look at that. I'll do my reball. Here we go. Ha! Yeah. Yeah, that'd be really nice if ours would do that. Ours do get onto the toilet, but that's only because they want to use it as a kind of like a soapbox. So they get on there and they just start yowling away to get Alita's attention or my attention. So what do you want? It's like, meow, meow, meow. It's like, yep, that's great, fantastic, thank you. You made me get up from the couch and come over here just to see what you want, and it turns out you're just in the mood to yowl. Let's see, tonight I shall use... I've got a official solder paste stencil squeegee. So I'm going to be interested to see what this is like. Hey Belch from Thailand. Now, of course, all this is a... Basically, it's a blank credit card. Something I no longer own. I've done this at an angle that I don't like, but anyway. Alright, let's see how this goes. Well, it does the job. And unfortunately I'm kind of pushing this off at a bit of a funny angle. Hopefully I won't be penalised too harsh for that. That should be good. Bahama, good evening. Now obviously I'm going to reflow that again so that the balls can centralize. And also pick up any stray little micro balls from the paste. Mike, it's all relative. Depends on the scale that you're dealing with. For chips this size, yeah, using paste is easy. But, or I should rather say for balls this size, paste is easy. But when you start getting up in the ball sizes, like when you get to the SMC type thing, then it becomes difficult because you need a fairly large amount of paste. And you start getting inconsistencies that make a difference. And so if you're not careful, you end up with a chip that won't sit down properly, or yeah, you just have more issues, I find. But that is just my personal experience. Other people may find they actually do just fine. I mean, I used to do SMCs as paste, but have to say that once I shifted over to using the right size balls and the technique, then I was very happy to not go back to paste for that particular type of chip. So to get some flux down. Spread it around. You only want a thin layer. You don't want it swimming. Swimming is bad. Unless you're at the risk of drowning, in which case, yes, swim. Unless you can't swim, in which case, do nothing, just float. And don't try and drown the person rescuing you. Hey Michael Kiram, how's it going, good sir? Why does that feel so off-center? Some days you just feel like you lose your mojo when it comes to putting down VGAs blind. Thank you, Markham. Are you having a vacation? Where are you heading? Or is that strictly on a need-to-know basis? Alright, so that was off a little bit, but it has come back into place, thankfully. Yeah, Jason, it can be a real pain, you know, sometimes you just, once you start that panic, or not, you know what I mean, once you start that bit of sense of doubt, and it creeps in, it makes it so hard to get things done right. I think when those things happen, if you can take the time, it's best to just walk off for a bit and come back to it later. But of course, sometimes you just don't have the room to do that. Harry, with regards to flux, yeah, long term it will tend to cause damage. It also depends on the type of flux. You may hear terms like activated or highly activated flux. Those are fluxes that will tend to eat more into corrosion and clear oxidation away very quickly when you're soldering, but the downside is you really need to wash them off because they'll continue to do that even afterwards. And when they say things like no clean flux, yeah, sort of no clean, but realistically, when you're doing rework, because there's because there is a good quantity of other items, of chemicals, substances on the board that are not really what you would find in factory, then you don't know how that's going to react with the flux. You may end up with something that makes the flux more acidic and consequently starts to eat the board, even though it was supposedly a no clean flux. Damn it, it just reboots again. It's interesting that it only reboots once. It doesn't just keep rebooting. So I'm missing, that's a clue there, and unfortunately I'm missing what it means. Some would say I'm missing a brain. Yeah, that is correct, Miles. Flux can mess with your readings. Back when everybody was doing touch iPhone 6 Plus Mason touch fixes, there were situations where the flux, if you didn't clean it up properly, it would get under the audio chip and cause dramas. Just looking around here, since this was reflowed, I'm just not sure how much influence that chip's going to have. Well, the ISL has been actually replaced. Then again, it was one of my who knows if it's any good ISLs. Thing is, I don't... Jason, do you know if the T2 was actually reflowed or whether it was just cleaned out with the hot flux? The wrong power setting there, buddy. Why did they have to use such a fragile chip structure for these things? Alright, okay, yeah, no, that's fine. It's not going to make any difference, really. In the sense of, it's not going to make any difference this evening. And chances are he's not going to know. He's going to have dad baby brain. So he's going to be about as... you probably got more chance of getting a toddler to remember what they said 5 seconds ago. I just knocked off a cap somewhere. I know I have. I'm pretty sure I knocked that cap off on the other board. The trouble is, where did it go? Yeah, Mike, I do much prefer using that technique because it greatly reduces your chance of pad pulls, and it produces a very nice flat surface. The question is, where did that part go? That's what bothers me. could be anywhere. Anyway, so I'll have to find out what that is and replace it. Alright, so we've got to reball this now. Which, funny enough, in many ways is actually more difficult than the CD3215. Pretty sure it was resistor. Yeah, I was about to say, I thought the circuit looked like it was upside down relative to the other board. Pardon me. But thanks for confirming. Right, now we're going to find a stencil that suits that. Hopefully one of my black ones will do it. I do seem to prefer to use the black ones. I keep forgetting. I mean, I've done the ISL before, and I just keep forgetting each time which stencil I use. Yeah, VDiv, I know you're being funny, but sadly, that's all too true. We'll use the PMIC one, they'll be fine. Okay, we've still got enough paste from that previous drying. Way too much paste. Ah, magic. Chip's gone. Okay. We don't really want to try and grab that. If you grab those chips by the edges with the tweezers when they're stuck in the stencil like this, then you will end up with a very chipped chip. So just put a bit of flux on it, give it a bit of heat, and just try and flex it out or pop like that. Most of the time when they get stuck, it's because the flux has gone cold between the bottom face of the chip and the stencil. Okay, give that another reflow. Wait. I thought these were actually bobbles, but they're in fact two sneaky balls trying to hang out there, and I would have had to have reballed that whole damn thing. Looks better. Mike Sims, have you ever seen any issues with USB-C ports getting mucked up? Things like heavy device. Oh yeah. The 1708 boards, the what was it, 820-0850s. I am regularly having to replace the soldered-in USB-C ports on those, and it is really annoying. I guess that's part of the reason why maybe they changed over to using the detached ones. Oh shoot, which... Right, just had to make sure I had the right board here. Sutter Bridge should be happy. We've had 2 reballs tonight. Okay, so let's see. It's a 1041 board. Schematics. So pin 1's top right, and this is the chip resistor we're missing. And fortunately, it's just a boring old 0 ohm 402, so that's great. So chip orientation that way, and we'll just get a 402 0 ohm for that one. No dramas with those. Actually, no, I do have them. I mean, yeah, I could take it from a donor board, but really with this sort of resistor, there's no point. Try and decide if Michael Kiram's serious or not. Oh, we got 2 for the money. 1 gets thrown away. What's the matter, Sutter Bridge? What's the matter? Tell us all about it. We know you have an angry life there, so maybe we can help. I was going to say, Michael, I was like, this seems very un-Michael-like. But I have enough weird things happen with customers that I sort of try not to presume too much more than I have to. Because customers can really surprise me. Just like I'm surprised myself by realizing that I am using the wrong setting again. It's the only trouble when you're switching back and forth with very small reballings back to the MacBook board, because the MacBook board needs almost everything you can give it with a quick, whereas those little part reballs barely need anything. Come on. He's telling me to shill. I'm not very good at shilling, to be honest. At least not in a contrived manner. The only way I'll shill is through my own excitement if I genuinely am happy with the product. Otherwise, I find it a little too cringeworthy doing the shills. Maybe too many years of watching late night shopping TV. But wait, there's more. Well, we don't really get a lot from Rossman anymore, do we? I mean, he's kind of left us in the drought, as it were. Now he's off gallivanting around the countryside, enjoying life as he should. But we're kind of left without our usual entertainment. And funnily enough, my entertainment from people like Alex Steele has kind of dried up. He's kind of doing stuff, but he's kind of also gone full sponsorship advertisement type style, and it's just not quite appealing to me in the same way that his original formats were. Yeah, I'm going to trust that that's down. I'm not going to tap the damn thing. Oh no, Solderbridge, you got it wrong. No. When I release new versions of Flexboard View, they come out with more bugs. Hey, Ratmole, there's a name I recognise. Now, of course, I'm fully expecting nothing's going to change, because I'm really thinking I'm not the guy to fix this one. I'm going to try, but I think I'm missing the obvious somewhere. But I'll keep trying for a bit. Ugh. Derek Chan, yeah, I actually just did release a copy tonight to the alpha testing people, and things are going pretty good. I'll give you a demo after I've checked this and found it hasn't changed a damn thing. That's what's going to happen. Okay, something has changed here. We're now stuck at 46 milliamp. It feels like we're almost back to where we were originally. 5 volts, 46. That's no good. So changing the ISL seems to have changed things around. What's the time? No wonder I'm feeling tired. It's 12:30. Okay, so why have you gone back to 45 milliamp? Is it now in DFU mode? I don't know. Okay, so it's 45 milliamps, but we are showing Apple protocol. Just need to check that all 4 ports are showing Apple protocol. Yeah, it's getting that way, Jason. Now is the time where I will make board mistakes, so better I actually apply that to the software. Okay, yeah, Apple protocol. Okay, so we have actually made progress because we've got Apple protocol showing up on all 4 ports, whereas before some of them were Apple, some were unknown. I'll just reset that just in case. I think this is getting a bit dodgy on me. Trinity MDR, first microsolder attempt. Replace the tantrum cap on my MacBook Pro using your video. Oh, thank you very much. Congratulations on that. What MacBook board was it, and did it solve the fault for you? I'm guessing it was, let's see, was it a cracked cap? And there was one like PP bus or something like that. 40 milliamps, my butt. Sorry, Jason. Guess I'll try tomorrow. Michael, Michael Chan? Oh, Derek Chan, sorry. Anton, no, I didn't poke it, but it did seem like it sat down properly. I saw it slide into place all right, so I said, at this time of the night though, best I don't take it off and have another look. Best I just wait till tomorrow morning, fresh start, try again. Pardon me. Let's see. Right, Derek. This is the new, well, the latest alpha release I've got, version 1240. And let's see, we'll go to, say, once again, let's do something actually. Let's submit some data somewhere. So there's incomplete data on here. So edit board data, and we're going to want odds and evens. And I like to use a diode by 100, and I'll explain that in a second. And now I've got to find a working 165. Ha 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 ha. That's a joke and a half. A working 165? Ain't never heard of that. Okay, I'll be right back. I've got to get one from the workshop. These are probably all going to be 3437s. Yeah, 3437, 3437, 3437. Ish, man. PD. I've got a 165, but I don't know if it's a confirmed fix. Ew, stickiness. Thirty-four, 37. Maybe I should just start pumping in the values for 34, 37s. Seems as, I mean, most of the time they're pretty much identical, but there are some areas where 34, 37 is different, and there are some nets that don't exist. Vice versa. Okay, I have only got one 165 board here. That is actually somewhat distressing, because it is a fairly common board for me to have to replace. So the fact that I've gotten that low on stock means I'm going to have to go and find some victims out there somewhere. Alright, 165 it is. Ooh. Alright, so this is the only 165 I seem to have, which is kind of crazy, but yeah, well, it is what it is. Just more, I was thinking I had more of them. At least 2 or 3. Yeah. Oh, I'll dig around later. That's beside the point. What we want to be able to do right now is demonstrate the data acquisition. I'll bring us up into the quad view. I'm trying to decide which is going to be easier, to take it from the bottom edge or the top pins. I suppose technically the top pins is where I really should go at it because, yeah. Okay, so we're going to go into diode mode and you'll be able to see diode mode readings up here. Yes, data is uploaded and shared. Okay, so we're going to start on pin 1, which seems to be already set to 0.5, but we'll check that. Wow, someone bent my pin. Okay, so it's signaling down here. Okay, so this is 0.54. So we're going to load it up with values that we know. 10% variance is not unusual in my opinion. So 0.54, so... And because I've got this on 100 by, I can just go in 54, and it does what I need to. Okay, and then the next one, 53, pin 3 rather. So we've got 52. 5. So we'll call it 60. $37, so yeah, they're pretty close. $39. I'm going to mark the connector as I go up. 72. That actually seems a little high in my opinion. That matches, so just making sure I still have an SMC on there. So obviously ground is going to be nothing, ground nothing. What's this one wire? Okay, we'll have to pin 19. This is probably the hardest bit. Actually keep tracking of all the damned things here. So that should be, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it should be the first one after here. Oh, optimized, yeah. I mean, there is. I know there is, but I'm just sort of like demonstrating for the sake of demonstrating. So I'm pretty sure that would be it. Is that open, or is that... Sorry, I'm just going to backtrack here. I've kind of lost myself. The angle was not working for me. $38, 72, 72, ground, ground, and this will be 19. Yeah, see, I've got a bit of angle here now. So 74, and mark. This is the sort of thing you really need an assistant for. Okay, 30, we'll call that 31. Because if you have an assistant, you can just call out the values, or they can type in the values. And okay, Barry, take care. Yeah, Lewis is here. Hey, Lewis, we're just doing data entry, buddy. Come and help me. So, 53. How's your Tesla? Yeah, what have I done here? No, I've watched up. 1, 2. That's actually meant to be open. So shift, enter, open. Oh well. Okay. No, I'm losing my head here. Anyway, let's see. What did you used to do, Lewis? Voice to text in Android phone. That's actually not a bad idea. Tim, yeah, actually, funnily enough, I have got the code in Flexboard View. It's hidden at the moment, but I do have the code for doing that. So I can basically I've got a foot pedal, a USB switch foot pedal, and I can take the values, stomp on the foot pedal, it stores it and moves to the next field. But of course, that's not something I'm going to expect other people to have, but I do actually have the code written for it. But I just, maybe I should demonstrate it one day. I don't know. Anyway, so we'll switch over to schematics. Once you're at this point, you've queued up your values. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of these ones here because I don't trust them. Oh, whoops, gotta close that. I don't trust those values, so I'm going to get rid of those. And then submit. Okay, they've now been sent up to the server. So if I go preferences, just check. It shouldn't make any difference anyway. But if I come along to here, then you can see the values in there. So like 72, 72 for the SMC. And it does get reflected over here. I might see if I can clean this up a little more. It does tend a little bit ratty. Anyway, the point is the functionality is now being built in, and we're all going to be able to share this data. Now there are going to be variances, but Derek Chan brings up a good point. All the values are actually kept separate. So the values I upload are different to the values you upload. They are kept separate in the database, and then what will happen is when I generate the board data file, once I've sort of worked out what I'm doing, I will produce a average value and then probably like a 10% swing either way. So you get the high and low variance, and then anything outside of that, the outliers just get tossed and ignored. So yeah, it's not a case of one person's value overriding another. However, whatever you upload, if you change, you only change your own value. You don't end up uploading 2 copies. It's just like you've only ever got that one copy to your name. And that way then you don't have people pumping the server trying to manipulate the overall value. Mike, I'm working on a local version, but it's kind of complicated because then people also maybe want to download versions, but then I can overlay their local copy. So I'm still working on those details. For the moment, I just want to work on the core, which is to enable everybody to get data up to the server. And then from that, we can worry about letting people have their individual sort of personal local values. The other part that's really important with the Flexboard View and the open board data now, of course, are the diagnosis sequences. Like I use this missing PM sleep S4L quite a lot. So you're missing PM sleep for S4L, you click on it, measure where your PM sleep is, and it says go check RTC G3 hot, and then you go check the reset L. And you go through this whole sequence, and it fixed a board for me the other night because I was missing PM, whatever this is, RSM reset L. And because I was missing that, that's when I found out that my SUS detect chip was broken. Replaced that, and it was fixed. So, yeah. So, you know, there's a lot of ideas here, and there's a lot of ways that can be developed into bigger things, but we do have to first get just the basics working. And once we've got the basics working, then we can expand out. If we go chasing fanciful things too quickly, then we may paint ourselves into more corners than we want to. Don't get me wrong, we're going to paint ourselves into corners. That's unavoidable. At some point, we're going to go, ah, crap, you know, if only we'd change the way we store the data. But you try to just reduce the amount of times you have to do a complete rewrite like that. So anyway, I am out of here. It's past midnight. Thank you all for being here. Hello, Lewis. Goodbye, Lewis. Hope you get your Tesla back soon, by the way. And I'll catch you all around. But appreciate you being here. Remember to like and subscribe as always. God, you know, I hate saying that. Subscribe, you bastards. Subscribe, okay? And I'll see you next time. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see if we can fix that 1041 board. Hopefully, for Jason's sake. Okay, catch you later. See you.